If you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, then you're probably already doing your research, and that's great because the real estate market is changing rapidly and you want to make sure you're prepared to buy or sell in this current market. Today I have my husband Jason with me, and we're going to go over a couple questions that consumers have regarding the current real estate market nationally and locally. So consumers have lots of questions about the current state of the real estate market, and we're just going to talk about three main topics today. And Jason, go ahead and jump in with the first question.
All right, well, the first thing is, what are you seeing in the real estate market right now? And the second part of that, is there a slowdown coming or is it already here?
Okay, that's a great question. Two great questions, actually. So the current real estate market in the Charlotte area is very rapidly changing. We are jumping into the spring market, and as you probably know if you've been looking at real estate for a little while, it is a cyclical and seasonal market. In the springtime, typically inventory does increase. Now, looking at year over year, we're actually a little bit lower than last year's numbers, but we are increasing month to month. At the same time, we're seeing interest rates go up. In April 2022, we exceeded 5% on mortgage rates for the first time since 2011. Now, grand scale, looking at this long term, the national average for interest rates is something like 6.8%. So we are actually coming in lower than that average. However, that pandemic boom that we saw for those 2 years with lowest interest rates in history kind of got people, I don't know, a little bit used to it, a little bit used to the unusual, right? Having a 2.5% interest rate is a lot different than a 5% interest rate.
You're doubling or tripling it.
Yeah. And people don't realize what a difference the interest rate makes regarding the monthly payment. So when you get qualified for a home loan, the interest rate actually plays a bigger part in your qualification than the price of the home, believe it or not.
Yes, it does.
As interest rates go up, if interest rate goes up 1%, your buying power goes down 10%, which is far more than most people realize. And I think that people took for granted that those low interest rates were just going to stick around for a while. They were refinancing and buying investment properties. So I think now we just have to kind of get used to the new normal right now.
Which is still below the normal,
yeah,
which is good, but just people need to get through the shock of 2.5% interest rates, which are not going to happen for quite a while, just because the economy needs to kind of fix itself with the way inflation is.
Yeah. And honestly, they may never go back that low. That would be shocking. It took a pandemic to get there.
It took a pandemic and the economy shutting down for a while for that to happen.
Yeah.
So in regards to that, is there a slowdown now because of the rising interest rates and inventory still being a little scarce?
Yeah, so of course we always have tons of buyers in Charlotte. We have over 150 people per day moving to the Charlotte area. And so the market, I mean, the buyers are there. So we are selling inventory. However, there is a little bit of a disconnect because a lot of sellers are still trying to reach for those high list prices, and the market isn't necessarily supporting it. So some homes, if they're not priced properly, are sitting on the market a little bit longer.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, I have a couple buyers who are looking for homes, and we're seeing some that are on the market 10 days later, 14 days later, which was almost never happening, 6 months ago. So some homes. Now, of course, real estate is hyper local. If you're looking at a specific neighborhood, you can be completely looking at different numbers than if you're looking at Charlotte as a whole. So be sure to reach out if there's a neighborhood you want to see actual data on so that I can give you accurate information. A second indicator to think about when looking at is a slowdown coming to Charlotte is how many offers are coming in. So of course, if you bought or sold in the pandemic market, you were probably seeing by multiple offers, meaning somewhere in the 20s or higher. I've heard many, many more than that on some homes. if a home is move-in ready and it's that perfect spot that a lot of people want to get into, then chances were good that you were getting over 20 offers. And honestly, a lot of those offers were not even competitive. So with the current market that we're in right now, a lot of people have lost their pre-qualification or pre-approval because of those increased interest rates. So fewer buyers are in the market to make those fluff offers. So we're still seeing multiple offers on those move-in ready perfect homes, but fewer, maybe 8 to 10 instead of 25.
Mm-hmm.
A third indicator to think about is new home sales. So in the resale market, we count a home sold when it closes, but in new construction, they're counting new home sales when they go under contract. So it actually becomes a quicker data point when looking at the housing market. The New York Post recently had an article out there about new home sales plummeting unexpectedly. So they did projections and estimated that there would be about 750,000 units sold in April 2022 and wound up only coming in at 591,000 units, which is much lower than they anticipated. And I think they said the lowest levels since 2020.
The pandemic, yep, April.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was unexpected. They weren't expecting such a drop in new home sales. And the fact of the matter is that's due to the increased interest rates and higher prices. It's really pricing buyers out of the market.
All right, so the next one is who is buying right now as interest rates are going up rapidly?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the staggering facts that keeps jumping out at me is in Q4 of 2021, in Charlotte, corporations and outside investors purchased about 30% of the inventory on the market. And that is shocking to me because these investors, these big corporations, they actually publicly announce that their goal is to make Americans all renters. They don't want to leave any inventory for the traditional home buyer to be able to buy their own home and own their own home. They want to buy up the inventory so that everyone can be a renter. It's residual income.
Yep, it's just passive income over time, so they can, no matter how their business is doing, if they own land, they keep getting rent and rent and rent, especially in these high popular areas like Charlotte or, Austin, Texas, anything like that.
Yeah, and on a national level, I think it was 19%. So we're quite a bit over the national level of corporations investing in the property. So these companies, they believe that Charlotte is going to be a hot spot for renters, and they want to take their unfair share of the market. Besides the corporations, of course, we still have cash buyers in the market who are purchasing regardless of interest rates because they don't need a loan to pay for it. And of course, we have the highly qualified buyers who are putting down a pretty hefty down payment, even up to 20% or more, to be able to purchase their home because they're a very strong buyer and they have wealth already built.
Okay, so going into our final question, is there going to be a housing crash in Charlotte this year?
That's a great question, and honestly, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell the future because I would be making tons of money right now. But the truth is nobody really knows. We just have the indicators. We have the estimates. We have the expectation, right? And given what I'm seeing in the market, I really feel like I'm leaning towards no. And here's why. Number one, we have a very popular market. We have a popular market for people moving here because we have a ton of great companies, Fortune 500 companies in this area. We have companies that are bringing their employees to Charlotte. We have tons of retirees moving here. It is one of the top locations for retirees to move. So we have the people who are continuously moving to the area. We also have the quality of buyer is different now than in 2008. Back in 2008, the regulations were not what they are today.
No.
The average borrower in 2008 had a credit score of about 670, and currently, the current borrowers have an average credit score of 770. So honestly, the buyers right now, the borrowers who are borrowing money from the banks right now, have more money on hand, have better history of payments, and of having that wealth already in place. So I am leaning towards no. Now, I definitely think that a crash to the scale of 2008, it just doesn't seem possible to me.
Not in the housing market.
Right, not in the housing market. But I think that there's going to be fluctuation and there's going to be changes happening. I just don't think, even if there is a crash, it won't be on that high of a scale.
Well, I know you were talking about that crash, but how about housing prices? Have they leveled off? Are they going down? Are they still going up?
Currently, we are still seeing an increase. We continue to see an increase, but it is a lot slower now. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, everything in real estate is so hyper local. When you look at it on a national average, it looks different. So if you are watching this video and you're thinking about moving to a specific neighborhood, please reach out to me. I would love to get you the details on that neighborhood. But looking at a big scale, it does look like prices are going to stop going up so fast and they're going to level off a little bit. I really don't anticipate them going down. If they do, it won't be by much. 5% maybe, if that.
Especially in this area, 5%.
In this area for sure, because like I said,
demand is too high for it to go down
there's
anymore.
too many people moving here, and it's all about supply and demand. That's basic economy. If there is low supply and high demand, the prices are going to keep going up. If you found value in this video, please like and share it with your friends and family or on your social media. Be sure to check out all my social media because I do post a weekly update about the market on my Google My Business page, on my Facebook page, on my Instagram. So follow me on all my socials so that you can get the most up-to-date information weekly about the housing market in Charlotte. If you have questions about this video or about the local Charlotte market or even about a specific neighborhood, be sure to reach out. My number's on the screen for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.